Hey guys, it's LOL underscore Ryban here, and today, full disclosure, this is a modded profile, copy of my main profile, in which we will be testing and really displaying the power of statues here. Sort of baseline, I've got lower level Calis, Cedric, and Wylmir. I'm going to go ahead and make sure they're all the same level as a reference point. So we've got Calis at 8, Cedric at, I believe, 11, and Wylmir at 13. I'm going to go ahead and get these all to 15. And then we're going to go over milestones. Maybe we'll do multiples of 15 just to make it consistent with where our starting point is.
Okay, approximately 5 million, 5.5 million or later. We now have Calis level 15, Cedric level 15, and Wylmir level 15, so we're setting our baselines. So what we'll be measuring are Cedric's effects. This is a little bit tricky. Actually. So what we're going to do is whenever we're testing Wylmir, we'll take off Cedric and we'll put on something like Kira or something. But for Calis and Cedric, we'll be testing with our primary attack and our rotating orbs, because the rotating orbs don't cost some mana. So we'll go ahead and do our Calis and Cedric checks now. So as you can see, we're hitting for 67 on our orbs. Good. And on our primary, I really should remove my... for the purposes of this video... Oh shoot, I need more money. Oh no. Let me just... Alright. I'm gonna change this to... the bomb. That way it won't hit the thing. Alright, so... I could also be using the unmarked guy. Okay, sorry. We'll redo. 67 still, which makes sense. 174 what we're looking at. So 67 and 174. There's actually guys down here that we can use our abilities on, statue wise, down here in the City of Stone. So we're gonna use these instead because they're closer to the statue changing NPC. So here's our circle. 131. That's where we're at right now. Alright. So we're at level 29, and I just want to kind of cover how much money these cost. We'll probably only be able to go up to maybe level 45 or 60 with this. Currently, it costs 16k ore for one level of a statue. Now, of course, I think this scales linearly. It's not exponential. So our costs will go up over time, but they're not really going to go up like bucket loads over time, so it should be okay. But yeah, we're gonna upgrade all these to 30 now. Here, spend the 45k ish ore, and now we have level 30 Calis, level 30 Cedric, and level 30 Wylmir. So we'll go do the quick check on the effects that this has had on our damage respectively. So we're at 96 with our spheres, and with our primary, we're now hitting for 224. Now I should note, Cedric and Calis both scale off of your armor, and I don't have bucket loads of armor or resistance. Sorry, they scale off your armor and resistance respectively. Cedric from resistance, Calis from armor. But so the more armor you get via class titles from Paladin and Warlock and scaling through your levels and stuff, you'll have more on armor and resistance here, so it'll have a greater effect. This is just to show the difference between the numbers relative to each other, because the more armor and resistance you have, obviously the difference will be the same percentile because it's the same amount of statue level increases. However, it'll be much more significant in terms of raw damage. So if you have like 1,000 armor, you're going to see much bigger gains than what you're seeing here. Alright, we've gotten rid of Cedric. Let's come down and test the circle. 240. Interestingly enough, It actually costs twice as much to get to level 45 than it did to get to level 30. So maybe I'm wrong about this linear thing. It seems to be scaling a little bit more quickly as you go on, but I don't know the formula. I'm sure it's listed on a wiki somewhere. So it's probably something like every X amount of levels it doubles. But yeah, here we are again. We've got level 45 statues. So let's go ahead and see our damage. Got 125 on the sphere and 272 on the primary. All right, we got rid of Cedric. 349 on the circle. Okay. I clearly don't understand the formula. Here's our level 60 upgrade cost. It's at 46. At 15, or no, not at 15. At 30, it was roughly 15k. At 45, it was roughly 30k, which was a double. But now it's gone up 15k again. So maybe after 30, it starts slowing down or something. I'm not sure. We're at 15k per every 10 levels increase in price-ish right now. So there's our Cedric 60. All right, we've got all 3 statues up to level 60. We're now down to 2 million ores, so we can probably squeeze in 75, but if we can't, we'll try to get something close. I mean, realistically, I'll get 75. I'll just give myself more ore. So our spinning spheres do 154 damage. And our primary is at 320, so 154 and 320. After removing statues, or not statues, but Cedric, we can try out the circle, which is hitting for a hefty 458, which is super nice. So unfortunately, my big brain just decided to show up, and I realized that you can just use the console to give yourself ore when you're in modded mode. But we did run out of ore, so we're gonna go ahead and get Wylmir up to 75, and I just want to show you guys what this last upgrade level costs. Of course, I skipped over it. We're at 65, which is a little bit above where we expected to be if it's a 15k increase, but our ore melts whenever we upgrade these things 15 levels. Anywho, let's go test out the damage, and I'm sure we'll see some nice meaty numbers. We're talking 182 on the rotating and 370 on the primary. Our circle is up to 563, getting close to the 1k range. Here we come on the 85,000 cost, so that's up 20-ish k. So it does scale a little bit, but it's pretty linear. It seems like it's like a rough increase. I mean, obviously it's not linear because then it'd just be a straight cost increase per level. But it doesn't go up too much from the traditional linear curve. So we're at level 90 of all 3 statues. Let's go test our damage again, and I'm sure we'll find a nice damage number here. Yeah, 211. So you'll note as we go along, there's about the same difference in numbers every single time from one set of 15 statue levels to the next, and that's because that's all statues do. The thing that makes statues so exponentially powerful here is not the statues themselves, but the statues put in conjunction with the other means of increasing your damage. If, for example, you get a blood rate of the immortal, which is armor, your Calis is going to scale with your blood rate, which scales with your NG. So the further you get along, not only will you have more ore to upgrade your Calis, you'll also have more armor for your Calis to work with, which in turn creates a exponential curve of increase of your damage. So statues by themselves are going to increase your damage, and at first it won't seem like a lot because you have your base damage plus the amount of damage your statues add. So you'll see, like, for our spheres, we started at 67, but then we only went up 30, and then we went up some more, and we weren't traditionally like doubling our damage or anything like that. We were going up by roughly 30 damage every single time, or 29 actually, and that's just what you expect. You add some blood rates into the mix, and I'll show that in this video. and it makes a much bigger difference. So we're at 211 for our rotating spheres and 418 for our primary. Right, here we are testing our sphere, our circle. 672. So now that we've seen a rough trend of where it's going to be, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade my statues to a ridiculous level so I can really show you the power of the statue. We'll still go to something within our trend. So we'll go to 150, which is, 10 times our starting point in terms of statue level. And then I'll show you the damage at that point, and then we'll talk about blood rights and all that, just so I don't make this video too long, just going over raw numbers as we go. For those of you who are curious, it only costs you a measly 183,000 ore for the singular upgrade from level 149 to 150. Jeez. All right, we're officially at level 150, Calis, Cedric, and Wylmir. So let's see how ridiculous these numbers have gotten. We're talking 326 on our spheres and 612 on our primary. And last but not least, the circle damage with just Wylmir, 1,104. Now, like I said before, you'll note that our damage isn't something that's absolutely ridiculous right now. Of course, our circle will get a lot stronger with Cedric and Wylmir both helping it out. But in general, our strength hasn't increased all that much. You've probably seen numbers similar to these in your runs, and hitting this hard is not that uncommon. Now, the thing to note about this is it's a roguelite, and so essentially how this works is there's going to be a bunch of stuff that works well together. So right now we're only using one section of these components. Let's add blood rights to the mix. Unfortunately, my character doesn't have a lot of health for testing, but to keep it simple, I gave myself 10 blood rights to the immortal, 10 blood rights of Fae, which are resistance and armor respectively. And we currently see a sizable increase in our damage and our resistance and stuff, but this is at a lower NG. What happens if we crank this thing up? NG 33 is unfortunately the highest NG available to me. But now, once we go into this dungeon, we should have higher level stuff. So let's go ahead and just walk in. This is just with blood rights, by the way. Of course, it's 10 of them, but now we have positive armor and resistance, and our attack power and skill power have gone up exponentially, and we get stuff like this. Now, of course, these things have jacked up resistance, and we have no drinks and stuff helping us out, but we are hitting very hard consistently. And if we add a skill that is scaling off of Wylmir and Cedric into the mix, these guys will start taking substantial damage. Now, yet again, this is only two parts of the system, and I should show you it on training dummies, so let me get that up and running. Now that we're in town, you'll see that we're still hitting lower. Well, that's because while we have all this extra attack power and skill power, the monsters have also gotten significantly stronger because we've jacked up the NG. Therefore, our damage has gone down. Well, how do we mitigate this? How do we help along with scaling through the NGs and getting higher damage? Well, there's several other things that you may think about, such as drinks. I personally like to run Markham's Moonshine on skill builds. This won't do too much for us here. So for just pure showing off lots of damage purposes, we're going to take Wicked Sickness with Frenetic, Evil Infusion for healing, and then why not? We'll take Starlight Singer and Elemental Bruiser. Now you'll see our damage for our skills go way up, and we'll show off something for primaries in a second as well. So our spheres are now hitting for 210, which is expected. A lot of the stuff we got increases damage, but not super significantly. The main thing is going to be combo, which triggers off of crits. So when we get that going, we're hitting pretty hard for 600-ish damage, and then on crits, I didn't get a good reading there. However, 7,000 looks like. I could be wrong. I'm seeing lots of numbers. Anywho, we're hitting for lots, significantly more damage. And if we add a circle to the mix, for example, 9,000, let's see if we can trigger combo. 27,000 damage there, which is very significant because that's pre-critting. In general, our damage has gone up a bunch. Our primary probably not so much because we took stuff related to skills, especially the skill cost for Wylmir to work his magic even more. I mean, the damage we're putting out is absolutely insane. So let's go ahead and get primary drink set up, and then we'll conclude the video because items do affect gameplay. Definitely, they're going to make a difference. However, these are the most substantial things that you can control yourself. All right. So for a primary build, we'll do the same stuff. We're going to take Wicked Sickness with Frenetic. We're going to take Incendiary Demise, as well as I usually take Overflowing Physique and something else defensive. But we're just going for pure damage. I don't think there's anything that adds something super significant to primary damage. So I think that's where we're going to sit at. Oh, we could add Enchanted Slammer to it. But let's just see how much damage we can do. We've added a lot more base damage, so our damage should go up substantially. We're at 475, but the main power is going to come in when we proc Frenetic. Hopefully within the next year. There we go. 2,870 damage, which is really high. Because once you get more and more items, it'll spiral off. And once we're critting more often, obviously we're not proccing Frenetic a ton because we don't have a ton of crit. So honestly, it works out pretty well. We're gonna do one last thing, which is something that is not practical at all because it'll get you killed, and also pulling it off in normalcy is going to be very hard, and that is jacking blood rates way up. So I tried to give myself a bunch of blood rates, and I may or may not have bugged my character, so I'll have to create a new one. I'm gonna see how far we can push this, but we currently have 200 immortals and 200 resistances. Let's add 200 more of each in the mix, and then oh, that's it. All right, so around 1,000 it breaks. We'll stop at 800 next time. We'll stop at 800. All right, so unfortunately this priest is not the same level as my other one. So we're not gonna have the same level of stuff, but I went to the town and maxed out the things that we could. We're sitting at a measly 273,000 attack power. 35,632.9 armor. And as you can see, our damage has gone up significantly, which is pretty good. Add drinks and items to this mix, and we'll be an obstacle, to say the least, for our enemies. So let's go ahead and grab these drinks right here. Every single time I buy one, the game has a fit because it doesn't know what to do with me. And we'll grab... not this. Where's the thing I want? This guy. Oh, we need more skill. Oh, we don't have enough mana to cast their skill. And I will note we're gonna die as soon as we go out into the real world, unfortunately, because we only have 1 health. 800 blood rates later, we're not doing so hot. But let's get I guess it doesn't matter too much. Let's just get stuff, buy some keys, and we'll go right into this dungeon and immediately get just destroyed. It says NG33 though, so I mean, what do you expect? I mean, we're doing damage, but we got hit, so it's a slippery slope. Anywho, I've showed you guys a little bit about the later game stages of the statues that even I haven't experienced or even gotten close to. We've seen the ridiculousness of blood rates, and you can imagine having that much attack power and skill power, how that affects you later on in the game. I mean, just in general, this stuff is really powerful and really strong when used in conjunction with each other. So that's kind of what I want to show off. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.